Ladies, so today I'm doing this mini training on signs your marriage is about to break up. So let me hold on. Hi Faith, hi everybody, hi Baz, how are you? Hi Jeff, hi Anesu, hi Denise. So let's talk about this. Usually there are some signs that your marriage is about to break up and you are headed for divorce. And many times, many ladies don't realize this. Okay, so this week I was having a very interesting conversation with one of my private clients, and she was telling me, when she came to me, she was like, Linda, I don't know whether I'm gonna survive this year as a married woman. She's been married for 8 years. And she was telling me that, oh my goodness, I'm noticing all my friends around me are like talking about getting a divorce. So she has 3 of her friends. And it got me thinking about how sometimes as ladies, we don't realize that our marriages are actually headed for divorce. And we think that whatever is happening is normal. So here are some signs that things are not going on very well. And if you feel like you're in a shaky period in your relationship, you're no longer open and vulnerable with your man, check out, I do have an upcoming masterclass. I opened doors last night and I'm already getting so many sign-ups. It's a free masterclass. DM me the word prevent for the link. So the first sign, you're always home alone on Friday nights. Now, usually there is a period, and I'm talking about you if you've been married for like 7 or so years. These signs normally start when you're around year number 3, number 4. At the beginning, your marriage is usually very exciting, so much fun. It's like the honeymoon phase. Then all of a sudden, this thing sets in. Now you will find many ladies start spending Friday nights alone. One of the ladies was telling me that, oh, I thought this is normal. Like I've decided to adjust my lifestyle because he's always out on Friday nights, every Friday. And for her, it's reaching a point where, like she was telling him she's feeling sick and she wanted to go to hospital. And her hubby was like, oh, it's okay, you have the car, you can take yourself to the hospital. Meanwhile, he was going to meet with his friends. Now, that's a very clear sign that things are not going on well. And the biggest mistake any woman can do is to ignore. You pretend everything is okay. So you might find yourself like, okay, now maybe you start to use your Friday nights for your own things. Maybe you are drinking, maybe you're meeting out with your girlfriends. But remember, whatever you start to do in year number 3, it's not gonna get any better. It's actually waiting for you at year number 6 or year number 7. And that is why this masterclass is for any lady who has reached that point where she's like, you know what, I've been pretending for like 2-3 years, I can't anymore, I'm feeling so over this marriage, I'm losing my mind, I want out. Now the thing is, there is a way of turning around your relationship. There is a way of turning around your relationship, but it requires for you to first recognize what are some of these signs that are happening in my relationship and for you to be aware. Because what tends to happen, ladies come to me when they're like, Linda, I am done, I am moving on. And I'm like, okay, yes, you realize that what you're dealing with in year number 7 started in year number 2, year number 3. So you've been piling on a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness for like 4-5 years, such that by the time you're waking up to go and say, you know what, I'm moving out, it's like for you, you're over and done. But I can tell you there is a way of turning your relationship around, but it requires for you to understand what are some of these signs. So if you're always home alone and you've normalized, not because you actually want that time, but because like you just cannot get your man to spend time with you on Friday nights, that is a sign that your marriage is really not on a very healthy level. And I sit around and there's some women who normally say, oh, you know, men need time, men need a break. But there is a whole difference between you saying your man needs a break because you have no choice. I mean, if your husband never sits home with you on Friday nights, of course, you will try to justify that by saying men need a break. It's not because you really know why he's going out. It's just because you're like, there's nothing you can do. You've had so many conversations. You keep telling him the same thing. Nothing is changing. So you've decided, you know what, let me cope by understanding him that he will still go out. Okay, so that's the first sign. The second thing, all your conversations are around bills, logistics, errands, nothing intimate. Now, we have normalized bare minimum marriages. We've normalized that it's like being a wife is this chore that we are supposed to do. And you will find, even the very first time I did a post on this, all your conversations are around bills, errands, logistics, nothing intimate. And you might be wondering, what's intimacy? Like, when was the last time you just stopped and looked at your husband in his eye and he smiled and you smiled back and you pecked each other and you are so happy to be around each other? Many couples, when they've hit year number 6, year number 7, they come to me and they're like, we can't even just have a normal conversation anymore. Okay, so that's a second sign that, you know what, this is a red flag. My relationship is going down a route that if I don't address any issue, for sure, you're probably gonna be heading for a divorce. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing, you can't remember the last time you went out on a romantic date. This baby's telling me that, oh, Linda, I only go out once a year with my husband. And I'm thinking, okay, once a year. And you see, this woman, when we are sitting together, you'll hear women saying, oh, I'm married. How many of you are married? Everybody will raise their hands. But you see, the big problem is, as a woman, we have been conditioned to feel like being a wife is this role, this duty that you have to take up. And there is so much shame. A lot of women feel a lot of shame when their relationships are not working. So you'll find women are suffering in silence. They are keeping quiet. What they're doing, they're eating, over drinking, doing all these things just to avoid that pain. Because what we'll do, the most they will go to church and you probably hear whatever message you go, or you go to home and you hear stories like, oh, it's okay, no, a good wife is supposed to make the marriage work. A good wife is supposed to be the one who holds the marriage together. But what you don't realize is you cannot be in a relationship where you do not know who you are, where who you're showing up as is as a result of all the programming you've received growing up. Many women don't even realize they're sleepwalking in their marriages. You're just there, you're operating. You fear being alone. You think that if you express your needs, that this man will leave you. And some of you will come and they say, oh, Linda, I keep talking. But the thing is, there is a way to communicate with your man. And if you're coming from a point of anger, bitterness, of course, nobody is going to be around a woman who has a lot of anger, pain, and bitterness. And why are you moving that way? It's because you thought you were being a good wife. It's because you thought that, okay, this is what wives are supposed to do. You put everybody else's needs first outside yourself. You're there cooking, making sure everything is fine. Even if you have nannies, you have a high-flying career, you're coming home, you're making sure everything is okay. But then what happens to you? You end up so tired, so exhausted every day because you're always being this responsible, strong, independent, responsible wife. And then what happens? Your husband is just looking at you like he doesn't even want to be around you because you are so angry, you're feeling shortchanged, you're there sitting and wondering, I'm doing all these good things that I'm supposed to do as a wife, but my husband only takes me out once a week, once a month, once a year. Yeah? So as ladies, what I always say, if you find your relationship is showing these signs, you're always home alone on Friday nights, you only talk about bills, logistics, errands, nothing intimate, You never go out on romantic dates. And of course, in the bedroom, there's nothing going on. It's obvious. The relationship is really at a place where it's so disconnected. And that is why I'm putting together this free masterclass where I will share with you my foolproof strategy of how I went from nearly divorced to becoming a happy provided for wife. It was not by chance. It was not by, guesswork, but there is a way that you should show up as a woman in a way that makes you happy, in a way that brings you joy, in a way that makes you stay in a relationship. And I'm not saying it's gonna be all roses and rainbows, because you will, of course, have drama in between. We are human beings, we are all growing, we are all evolving, but you will be able to do it from a point where you are wiser. Okay, so let me see if there are any questions. And if you're interested in this free masterclass, send me a DM with the word prevent, and I'll be able to share the link with you. Let me see if there are any questions. Let me see. And it's very, very interesting. Like I mentioned, what happens with cycle of, I don't know how long you guys have been married, but divorce does not happen. And I can talk about this because I've been through it. Send me the DM, the Fortress. I have a link in my profile. You can check it out, but also the easiest way is send me a DM, I'll share with you the link. Yeah. So when it comes to divorce, you don't just wake up and realize, oh my goodness, I'm gonna leave. And what I say is, even if you're not the one who's gonna leave, your dude is definitely one day is gonna wake up after 10, 15 years and is like, you know what, I'm done, I'm gone. And then you'll sit and wonder, why did I not see this coming? But if you actually were true to yourself and you actually were able to tune into your body, you knew that your relationship had reached a rock bottom and you were just there for the sake of keeping up appearances. You were just there, for the sake of the children. Hey Joe, you were just there because you feared being lonely. But at some point, I've come to realize, at some point people reach and they're like, you know what, it's not really worth it. It's not worth it to keep staying in a relationship that's built on fakeness. It's like your two roommates. And what I've come to see, after talking to so many of you ladies, it's the ladies who struggle the most. Yeah? Dudes wake up and they go and they keep moving, but ladies struggle the most. Why? Because women tend to over-invest in relationships. Women tend to do so much in relationships. Why? Because this is what you are conditioned to do. You are taught to be a good wife. And I did a post the other day about how you're taking the good wife thing wrongly. That's not how you're supposed to be a good wife. You're not supposed to be overperforming like that. It's different if it's giving you joy. But what happens, you're doing so much, you're doing the most for everybody. Why? Because you feel if you are not the one holding everything together in the home, there is no home. Yeah? And this all comes from the way you are conditioned. What you saw growing up. And I always say, at some point as wise women, we have to get to a point where we are like, you know what? Yes, I saw this growing up. Yes, I'm seeing all my friends in funny marriages, but there has to be one of you to decide, you know what, I want to have a better legacy. I want to leave behind a healthier love legacy for my children. It's easier to accumulate money. I'm telling you, it's easy to be wealthy. It is so easy to go make money. It's so easy to have these careers. But the one part that's always overlooked is what kind of legacy are we leaving our children behind? Yeah? So you think you're doing like an amazing thing by being a mom and staying in a relationship that's unhappy. Yeah? You think you're being a good wife, but what that's happening is it's killing you inside slowly but surely. It's aging you. You're probably putting on so much weight, you don't even know how to lose it. You are over shopping, you're over drinking, you're doing all these things. By the time you hit your late 40s, you're like, what the heck is going on? You don't even know who you are anymore. And this happens to, it doesn't even matter if you have like a high-flying career, because most of the ladies I speak with, they are very, very powerful women in the boardroom. But then when it comes to the bedroom, it's a whole other conversation. Why? Because romance is a very, very, very different ball game. The way romance works is not the same way your friendship works. It's not the same way your relationship with your colleagues, your parents. It's a very, very different dynamic. So let's see if there are any other questions. If you're interested in this free masterclass, send me the word prevent. And yeah, let's start to have these conversations. Let's open ourselves up, because I always say, if you see another woman who is happily married in her relationship and you're struggling, you're only getting one date, probably there's something you don't know. Probably there's something you don't know. And I always say, change only comes from you. It only comes from you. All right, so ladies, don't let this be the year where you go through the whole year and then December comes in, then you're like, what the heck? And the amazing thing is, there is always something that you can do. I was in that position. That's why I can have all these conversations through and through. At one point when I was separated, I thought I was gonna get a divorce, but there was a lot I didn't know, and here we are now, happily together again. And I did not for the life of me think we were gonna survive the whole of last year together. So yes, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. Otherwise, doors are open, and feel free to sign up. And I will be closing these doors very shortly, because I realized I get so many requests. I get so many sign-ups, and I want to keep these sessions intimate. So I'll keep the doors open for the next day or two. After that, we close up. Then I'll probably not offer this masterclass again. Yeah, because it really is a one-off, one-of-a-kind kind of a session. So I'll be more than happy to have you ladies sign up. Okay, so prevent. Yeah, sure. Please send me a DM. Send me a DM, Makasiane, and I'll be able to send you the link. All right. So have a beautiful day.